sorry, I literally just noticed I did my nails literally yesterday. Somehow, the gel polish just fully fell off of that one. Somehow. Anyway, I am so happy to be back filming for you guys and to be back on YouTube. It's honestly one of my biggest hobbies, and I've honestly been going through it without being able to talk to you guys. This is going to not only be my comeback video for my, little hiatus I had there, but I also am going to be kind of doing a part 2, second installment to my being stealth in college video. This kind of goes hand in hand with that. I'm kind of just going to be talking a little bit more broadly about it, maybe more just in terms of being trans in general in college, but also about how, specifically being a stealth woman, I'm affected like on a constant basis. I will start this video off by saying I had no idea how mentally taxing being trans in a place full of cisgender people who are all your peers, all your same age would be. Like I didn't think it would be that much different for me, but it's worlds and worlds and worlds and worlds different as a perspective as a stealth trans woman. So that my peers don't even know I'm trans and it's this different for me. My experiences are this different, and the average person doesn't know I'm trans. So I would really put my heart out there for people who can't be stealth. Like, it's not an option for them, because I don't know what I would do. Basically, I am constantly overanalyzing every minor movement that I do, every sound that my voice makes, every way that I turn my head. I'm convinced that someone's looking at me, somebody's clocking me, somebody's judging me, thinks I look like a boy, thinks I look ugly, whatever. And it's something I struggled with slightly in the past. Like in high school, I transitioned in high school, so clearly I wasn't stealth. Like freshman year and sophomore year, I was a boy, and then junior year and senior year, I was a girl. So like clearly everyone knew. Honestly, my mental health was so much better then, because I didn't give a fuck. Like, I did not give a fuck what people thought, because I just knew, everyone knew. Why am I sitting here and gonna be constantly in my head, like overanalyzing everything, when everyone fucking knew I had this bitch in English class and she saw me as a boy? Like, clearly if I talk a little bit lower, that's not gonna give it away. Like, the bitch knew already, you know what I mean? Whereas here, I feel such a pressure on myself to constantly be at the top of my game, constantly looking good, constantly dressed cute, constantly full makeup, constantly having my hair done, constantly having my voice as passable as can be, constantly just being on and being aware that I'm being watched. That's what it feels like. And I don't even get an escape from that when I'm in my room, because I live with like 12 other girls. Not one of them knows that I'm trans except for my actual roommate, because she's a raging lesbian. And I was just like, bitch, if you could be a raging lesbian, I could be a raging transsexual. Like, what? She knows and she's fine with it, but nobody else knows. So even when I'm home, I don't have to, but I feel such a strong urge to put on what honestly feels like an act at this point. Like, I don't see, obviously, me being a woman is not an act. This is my day-to-day life, has been for years and years and years. Like, that's not an act, but I almost feel like I have this pressure on me. I don't know, it's not even societal, it's really a lot of internal pressure. Like, I feel like I put a lot of this pressure on myself. It does come from people, but I would say the main source of it is myself, where I feel like I need to put on this persona of hyper feminine that isn't really me. So even being more feminine than I naturally am, just to make sure I come across as feminine and that none of my masculinity is showing. And it honestly, it feels performative, but it also feels inevitable. Like, I'm not able to not be like that, because if I were to just live my life carefree, like, I don't even remember what that feels like. Like, to walk to the store, like, and not be, constantly looking at my phone to see what I look like because I'm convinced I look bad, or constantly thinking everyone's looking at me or talking about me or hearing my voice. Like, I don't remember what that's like to just go to the store and get a bag of chips and literally be like having your mind wandering, not giving a fuck what's going on. Like, I'm constantly like all these thoughts of everyone is, looking at me. And sometimes I really do feel like it's true. Like, people are looking at me and talking about me and stuff like that. And other times I'm like, people don't give a fuck, Maddie, but you are just so in your own head. It's so hard not to be here, just again, like I said, because I'm literally only around cis people who are around my age. So it's so hard not to compare myself to these girls, because you don't see girls like me walking around here. You don't see openly trans women or anything, or trans women, period. So I don't understand how I wouldn't compare myself to these cis women, and especially the women I live with. Like, I see them waking up and stuff like that, and it's just like, I hold myself to that standard, and it's hard to live up to that standard, because at the end of the day, I don't like obviously talking about this, but it's the truth. I'm biologically male. I'm different. I'm different than a normal woman in several ways. Very similar in a lot of ways, but very different in other ways. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think there's a distinction. I understand that, but yet I still compare myself to these cis women on a constant basis, as if it's at a fair playing field, when in reality it's not. I mean, you were born as a woman. You had estrogen pumping your veins from the second you hit this earth. Well, I had 14 years of testosterone, and I've only been living as a woman for a handful of years. So it's not the same playing field, but I don't even know. It's weird to say, but sometimes I forget that I'm not that I forget that I'm trans, but I forget that there's that imbalance where we're not the same. Where I look at myself and I'm like, wow, why do my shoulders look different than hers? Why am I so much taller than her? Why do I feel like I am wider than her? Why do I feel like my voice is so different? Like, I feel like just being in this really heteronormative, really cisgender normative area, that I just kind of unknowingly hold myself to those standards that are kind of just not capable for me to reach. I just don't think I'm ever gonna pass the way obviously a cis woman would pass. She's not really passing, because you're obviously just a fucking girl. But I'm saying, like, I just don't feel like I'm ever gonna get to that place that cis women are at, which I'm not saying that they're better, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of femininity, in terms of womanhood, it's just a lot different of a journey for a trans woman than a biological woman. Basically, what I've been trying to say in this entire video is that I think that me putting myself in a really just straight heteronormative cisgendered environment and throwing myself in there and just trying to live with, like, amongst that, it's driving me a little fucking crazy, because I feel like it's performative. I feel like I'm hiding a huge piece of who I am, and I feel like I'm only making surface level connections. I would say that's accurate. I feel like I'm making a lot of surface level connections, because I feel like I'm only displaying a really particular, specific part of me. Not to say that I'm being fake, but I'm saying I'm only showing a one-dimensional, really constructed version of myself to people, and that's the person that I'm showing here. And I feel like there's so much more of me to be seen and to be connected with, and that I could show, but I'm just afraid. And honestly, I kind of forgot how to unlock that part of myself, because like I said, I've been in this weird headspace and mindset for like 2 years, honestly, since I came to this school. It's hard to make that transition back to no pun intended, but, like, you know, trying to get my mindset back in that place where I can be more confident and not give as much of a fuck. But at the same point, there are benefits to hiding my queerness and hiding my trans identity. Case in point, I got a fucking boyfriend last semester who was a student here, and he was popular, and everyone knew him, and everyone knew us, and no one gave a fuck. And it was the most heteronormative experience I've ever had in my entire life. I keep saying that, but it's the only thing that I feel like can really accurately describe what I'm trying to say. Like, I genuinely felt for the first time in my life that I felt like a normal girl. Like, my boyfriend would go hang out with his friends, him and his friends would come say hi, we would come, you know, lay down in bed, all my roommates liked him, everyone knew we were together. There was no shame, there was no hiding, there was no secrecy, there was no no, you're not good enough. I can't claim you as a girlfriend. I don't want everyone to know that we're together. It was literally like he was just as proud of me to have me as his girlfriend as he would if I was born with a vagina. And I literally have never experienced anything like that ever. And especially in a setting with like my peers and in school and something like that. Never. Just because everyone always knew me as a trans girl. So no guy was really willing to claim me as just like a regular girl, like his regular girlfriend, because they were afraid of what everyone else would think. But because no one else knew anything, that wasn't even a thought for him. And even once I told him I was trans, he was like, yeah, but no one knows, so like it's still fine. And it was just such a different experience from what I've ever felt that I feel like I don't want to give that up. But at the same point, it comes at such a heavy cost, which is like my mental health. And also, I'm not even in that relationship anymore. That guy ended up fucking me over. Actually, don't really want to talk about him much because he just subbed me on his Instagram the other day and I'm still upset about it. Anyway, I really kind of gave you guys a direct access to my stream of thoughts right there. Like, that's genuinely 100% what I'm thinking right now. Like, completely unsugar-coated, completely raw. That's how I feel. And I want to hear your opinions on it. Has anyone ever gone through an experience like this? Even if it's just, you know, being stealth or not having people know you're trans for a short period of time. Like maybe you're just went to a party where no one knew you were trans and, you know, you can relate to that. You know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? Really weird, tricky concept to wrap your head around. But I want to know what you guys think. So definitely let me know in the comments down below. Yes, I love you. Everything is going to be okay. Mental health is important. Let's keep talking about it. Let's keep progressing on it. And yeah, I love you. Thank you for listening to me. See you next week.